Hello traders and investors, welcome back to the Trend Trader channel. It's been a while since we had a video. In the previous video, we were discussing some things to expect from the SAP Zenzelekabili BE share scheme. We mentioned that this time is going to be a different company, so people should expect different results compared to the first BE scheme. So we hope that most of you already have opened your account. Initially, most of us were trying to open an account with ComputerShare and other stockbrokers up until EasyEquities said that the shares will be available on their platform. So we believe that most people now are using EasyEquities to invest in these shares. So for those who have already invested, let's just wait and see how this SAP Zenzelekabili scheme will perform. So for today's video, I want to share with you a couple of US stocks that pays a monthly dividend. Initially, we shared a stock Realty Income fund that pays monthly dividend. So today we're going to be looking at, I think, 2 or 3 companies that pays monthly dividends. So without wasting more time, let's dive into those companies.
Okay, as we mentioned, the first stock that we covered previously is Realty Income Fund. So this is a real estate investment trust that pays monthly dividends. So if you want to receive monthly dividends, this is one of the companies that you should be looking at. It's a US company. All these stocks that we'll be discussing today, you will find them in the EasyEquities US dollar account. So your US dollar account need to be active and funded for you to be able to invest in these shares. But if you can use other platforms such as eToro or any other platform that you can use to trade US stocks, as long as these stocks are available in those platforms, you can use those platforms as well. But for the purpose of this video, these stocks are available on the EasyEquities US dollar account. And if you don't have an account with EasyEquities, just check in the description below. We have a link that will take you to EasyEquities. Then you can set up your account. Unfortunately, at this moment, eToro is no longer taking accounts from South Africans. So we can't recommend that you use eToro at this moment. But if you have any other broker that you can use to purchase US stock, you can use that broker in addition to EasyEquities. So yeah, last time we said that a Realty Income, it's a real estate investment trust that pays a monthly dividend. As you can see there, it's monthly dividends. So they say it's a strong shareholder return. They have different property under their portfolio. It varies from shops to some warehouses. So it's a different kinds of companies that they have. It is diversified through different industries, and it is also diversified geographically. We mentioned that they also have some property portfolios that are outside the US. As you can see, some of the properties are in the United Kingdom. But that is in the past. If you want to watch the analysis of this, just check up there. We will put a link into that video. So for today, we want to talk about 3 companies, which is Main Street Capital and Stag Industrial. And the last one, it's an ETF, the QYLD, which is a global Nasdaq covered call ETF. So let's start with the ETF. According to this website, globaletfs.com, you can see the share code or the ETF code is QYLD. So the complete name of the ETF is Nasdaq 100 covered call. So in the US, here in South Africa, we're able to trade CFDs, contract for differences, which can track the underlying asset. In this case, if you are trading a share CFD, it tracks the underlying share price. So in the US, they have something that they call options. So the calls, they are put options. I won't go deeper into this because it's not something that most of the retail investors in South Africa do. But what you need to know is that you can buy this ETF. The ETF is based on a covered call. So The objective of this fund, they want to provide an investment return that correspond to the price and yield performance before fees. So they are tracking this CPOE Nasdaq 100 buy right V2 index. So that's a mouthful. What is important for you to understand is that this ETF, it has a high income potential. It pays monthly distributions. So that's the whole point why we are buying this ETF, or why we are looking at this ETF, is because we're interested in that monthly dividend that will give us a monthly income. So, okay, this is the ticker name, QYLD. The ETF was established in 2013. So there's a lot of information. About 100 companies are covered by this ETF. The net asset value, which is the selling price, according to this website, it's $22 or 22.43 $22.43. And as you can see, it has a total expense ratio of 0.6%. It's a bit high. I prefer a total expense ratio that is less than 0.5%. But yeah, that's it. And then you see the distribution yield, it's about 12%. And the 12 months trailing yield, it's about 12.52%. So basically, the yield that you can expect from this ETF, it's about 12%, meaning that every 100 rand that you invest, in theory, you should expect about 12 rands. But in this case, it's in US dollars. And the distributions, distribution frequency, it's monthly. So this is the just a brief summary of this ETF. So when you look at the chart, in this case, we are not necessarily looking for growth, but we want to ensure that whenever we buy, at least the price is above the 200-day exponential moving average, meaning that we have a bullish bias on the ETF. As you can see at this current as it is, the green line is the 200-day exponential moving average. Currently, the price it's above it when you just zoom in there a bit. And as you can see, the current price, it's $22.45. That is pre-market. As you can see, I'm recording this video just before the market opens. So if you look at this, you see they have all these dividends. Some in August 2020, they paid about 22 cent US dollar. It's US dollar cent, not South African cent. So they average around 20 cent dividend that they pay. So it's 20 cent per share. So that's the kind of payment that you can expect from a QYLD. So that's the first one that you want to look at. And then the second one that I want us to look at is Stag Industrial. So Stag Industrial is also a real estate investment trust. They're also collecting rent and passing the rent on to the shareholders. As you can see, that a total company. So in this case, this is not an ETF, it's just a real estate investment trust. For those that are not familiar with a real estate investment trust, I will just use South African regulation as an example because that's the one that I understand better compared to the US one. So it's a company that owns a portfolio of properties, either residential, commercial, and then they collect rent. They lease out those properties to the tenants that need the property. Then they collect the rent. So for them to retain the real estate investment trust, they need to pass a certain portion of the income to the investors. The investors will then pay tax. The company itself, as far as I know, it does not pay, at least it does not pay dividend tax because they pass that dividend to the investor. Then the investor in South Africa has to pay that 20% dividend withholding tax. In South Africa, we've got companies such as Growth Point, Redefine, Emerson. Yeah, it's a lot of companies that invest in this, except that most of the companies in South Africa, they pay dividend twice. We have an interim dividend and the final dividend, and the gap between the two, it's 6 months. But in the US, the companies, they report the result every quarter. So most of the US stocks, they pay dividend every quarter. Then there's an exception, the stock that we are looking at right now. They pay dividend each and every month. So yeah, if I speak about real estate investment trust, that is what I mean, that they have a special status, and that status come with a bit of an obligation. So in this case, Stag Industrial, it's also a real estate investment trust, and then they acquire and operate single tenant industrial properties throughout the US, and then they target this kind of property so that they can develop an investment strategy that assist investors to find a powerful balance of income plus growth. So yeah, in this case the focal point is more on income. Then if there is capital appreciation, that is just a cherry on top. So Stag Industries has an enterprise value of about 7.3 billion US dollars, and then they do business in the United States. So basically, in the US, this is a domestic company, as it doesn't have buildings outside the US. They have about 500 buildings, and it covered different places. Okay, it's just Stag Industrials. So I won't go deep into the fundamentals of this business, but if you just go to stagindustrial.com, then you'll be able to find all the information that is there. Again, similar to Realty Income and QYLD, they also pay the dividend on a monthly basis. So if you look at the chart of Stag Industrial, the stock is currently trading at $38.55. As you can see, the stock has been on a nice uptrend. There were so many opportunities to buy at a lower price, but the stock at this moment, we are looking at a price that is on an uptrend. So we expect a bit of capital appreciation, and in between there, we're expecting those monthly dividends. Again, as I said, the whole point of buying this monthly dividend paying stock is to generate some form of an income. It's not a lot to do with capital appreciation. If capital appreciation is there, that's good. But the focal point is the dividends that you want to receive. As you can see, all the D's down there, they represent all the time that the company has paid a dividend. So if you look at the typical dividend that they pay per month, it's about 12 cent. Remember, it's US cent, not South African cent. So yeah, they pay an average of 12 cent per month that you'll be receiving. And each share cost $38.55 as of today, the 17th of June, 2021. And then the final one. So the first two stocks that we covered, Realty Income and Stag Industries, are real estate investment trust. And then the ETF is just a covered call ETF. And then the final stock that I want us to look at, it's Main Street Capital Corporation. So this one differs from the other first two stocks. This is not a real estate investment trust. This is just it's sort of like not necessarily private equity, but yeah. So they provide private equity and debt capital to other companies. So this is more like a bank or a financial institute that provide capital to other companies. They do not own rent; they just lend out money. So the companies, they will repay that debt with interest, and then they use all those proceeds. They pass the proceeds to the investors. So, according to their website, they say that Main Street Capital is based in Texas. So, they assist over 200 private companies grow or transition by providing these companies with flexible private equity and debt capital solutions. So these privately held businesses, they tend to us because they are Main Street, not Wall Street. So they build a relationship and tailor the transaction to meet the unique need of each company that is coming to borrow money. So this one does not invest in property. It just lend out money to smaller companies to assist them grow. And then obviously those companies should repay the debt, and they will repay it with interest, and then Main Street Capital pass this interest back into the shareholders. So if you buy the stock, then you become a shareholder. So let's look at some of the companies that they have there, the portfolio of companies. So as they say, they develop a long-term partnership. They have a lot of stocks. All these stocks that they've invested on or that they've lent capital are not listed, as they said that they lend this capital to private companies. So again, the reason why we are looking at this is because we want to see those monthly dividends. That's the whole reason why we are here. So they do, they do report quarterly their result, but what is important is that this company does pay monthly dividend. So let's go to the chart. The stock is currently trading at $42.42. As you can see, it's been on a nice uptrend. Ideally, I would have wanted to buy this stock here around $30 per share, but I just found out about this stock recently, so I missed all that run. And then, as you can see, the stock does pay those monthly dividends. So the stock, we can see here that it pays those nice monthly dividend. On average, it pays about 20 cent every time they pay dividends. And as you can see here, that means that it's when the company report the total earning, the total earnings or revenue of that particular company. So yeah, we can see that they pay these monthly dividends regularly, which is great, which is going to be good for our portfolio. So you can look at these three companies, as we said. The first company, it's Main Street Capital Corporation, and the other company is Stag Industrial, and then the final one, it's the QYLD covered ETF. The previous one that we covered was Realty Income Fund. So as I was looking at this ETF and this covered call, it's a bit of a complicated process to do the calls and put. I mean, for those who are experienced in it, it's very simple. As I was interested in this QYLD ETF, I wanted to check what kind of a product it is. I dived deeper into another. I did a bit of research. So I found this interesting article from Seeking Alpha. So from this article, they are basically saying that yes, the ETF, it's a high income, but it's a poor investment choice. So if you can just Google Seeking Alpha and try to add QYLD, then just go through this article. But in summary, they say that yes, they are paying the 12% annual distribution, and then this fund it replicates that Nasdaq 100 index, and then it generates distributable cash flow from option premiums, and then they write at the money calls on the index monthly. Then there's a lot of story why this might not be a good investment. And then you see that there's this income if you were to invest 10,000 US dollars. So you expect to get around an average of $100 per month if you put in 10,000 US dollars. So that's what you can expect to get. But this dates back all the way to January 2014. So over the years from January 2014 to January 2021, the income that you're getting there, it grew from $100 all the way to about $200 per month. So which is good, as it says that it's clear that the fund meet the goal of generating a high income, which is good. So they do describe how this fund work. So it generates those double digit yield. So they say it holds this index. So one cannot buy or sell the index, so it will be like using a different kind of index. But they do describe, and then they compare it with other option-based funds in terms of returns, how it performs, and all those things. So you can see that QYLD, it has the highest distribution yield of 12%. The other ones are less than 8%. So overall, it looks like it's a good product, but there's a decision that you have to make for yourself. I'm not saying that it's a good or bad product. The whole purpose of this video is to just bring to your attention a couple of listed securities that can pay you monthly dividends instead of waiting for quarterly dividends or biannual dividends. There's an option of getting something that will pay you a monthly dividend. Well, there are some volatility there that they talk about, then there are some drawdowns. So yeah, it's a mouthful. I will leave a link to this article in the description below, so that if you want to dive in and read up more on this, I will give you the link and all the links to all the other uh, website of these companies. So yeah, that's it. So for now, I'm only aware of 4 stocks that can pay you monthly dividends of those stocks. We have Realty Income, we have this QYLD ETF, we have Stag Industrials, and then we have Main Street Capital Corporation. So I hope that you now have knowledge of the existence of these securities that can give you these monthly dividends. So that's it for today. If you find this content valuable, I will appreciate it if you can click the subscribe button. We're currently sitting at about 860 subscribers. So please, I would really appreciate it if you can click the subscribe button to help us push to reach at least 1,000 subscribers. And if you enjoyed this video, please click the like button. It helps the YouTube algorithm to spread this video so that it is available to as many people as possible. Thank you. See you on the next video.